Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lynn. Namaskar, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in Brasilia after attending the 17th BRICS Summit in Rio de Janeiro. The Prime Minister holds bilateral talks with President Lula da Silva on key areas of cooperation on this state visit to Brasilia. BRICS leaders push for empowering the Global South, reforms and responsible AI. Prime Minister Modi urges for lead-by-example approach. And he also says that for India, climate justice is not an option, it is a moral duty. And both Trump and Netanyahu express optimism of a ceasefire in Gaza as Netanyahu is set to visit the White House today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Brasilia a short while ago after attending the BRICS Summit in Rio de Janeiro. Prime Minister Modi is in Brasilia for a state visit to Brazil, where he will be holding bilateral discussions with the Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva on the broadening of the strategic partnership between the two countries in areas of mutual interest, including trade, defense, energy, space, technology, agriculture, health and people-to-people linkages. Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had addressed the session on environment, COP30 and global health at the BRICS Summit in Rio de Janeiro. In his intervention, the Prime Minister had stressed on strengthening shared efforts to make the planet healthier. The Prime Minister noted that for India, climate change and environmental protection have always been subjects of the topmost priority. This has also been a part of our ancient culture, the Prime Minister said. He said that for India, climate change is not merely an issue of energy, it is about maintaining balance between life and nature. He pointed out that India is driven by the spirit of people, planet and progress. India, as he pointed out, has launched many initiatives like Mission Life, Lifestyle for the Environment, Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam, or Tree for Mother. India, of course, is a founder member of the International Solar Alliance. And then there is the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure as well. India is driving force of both these associations. And there's the Green Hydrogen Mission as well, the Global Biofuels Alliance. And a preservation issue, preservation of the wildlife, the International Big Cats Alliance, India succeeding in Project Tiger and other animals, including the cheetah mission. But despite that, being the world's fastest growing major economy, India was the first country to achieve its Paris commitments ahead of schedule. And for India, in fact, climate justice is not just an option, it's a moral duty, the Prime Minister said. India believes that without technology transfer and affordable financing for countries in need, climate action will remain confined merely to climate talks. Because the health of our people and the planet is interconnected, the Prime Minister pointed out. And when we think back at the COVID-19 pandemic, what did it teach us? It taught us that viruses do not arrive with visas, nor are solutions chosen based on passports. Hence, we have to strengthen shared efforts to make our planet healthier. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with the President of Uruguay, Yamandu Orsi. This happened on the sidelines of the BRICS Summit in Rio de Janeiro. Earlier in the day, this is. The two leaders held discussions covering the full spectrum of bilateral relations. The key area of discussion was strengthening bilateral trade and investment. Both sides have expressed an interest in the expansion of the India-Mercosur preferential trade agreement, aiming to unlock greater economic potential and trade complementarities. Prime Minister has expressed gratitude to President Orsi for his strong condemnation of the recent barbaric terrorist attack in Pahalgam. He appreciated Uruguay's solidarity with India in the fight against terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. Prime Minister also held a meeting with the President of Bolivia, Luis Alberto Arce. This happened also in Rio de Janeiro before the meeting with the Uruguay President, and this happened on the sidelines of the 17th BRICS Summit. Well, the two leaders reviewed bilateral cooperation. They expressed satisfaction with the progress achieved. They expressed satisfaction over the ongoing developmental cooperation between the two countries, including through quick impact projects and also capacity building initiatives under the ITEC scholarship program. Prime Minister Modi expressed solidarity with the people of Bolivia in the wake of the severe flooding that occurred in March-April 2025 in La Paz and also several other parts of the country. He congratulated Bolivia for joining the International Solar Alliance. Prime Minister Modi also conveyed his best wishes on the historic occasion of Bolivia's 200 years of independence. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi addressed the inaugural session on reform of global governance and peace and security of the BRICS Summit, and a session on strengthening multilateral economic, financial affairs and artificial intelligence. The Prime Minister also underlined that terrorism was a grave threat facing humanity, and the Prime Minister also called for working towards a responsible AI.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the inaugural session on reform of global governance in peace and security, as well as session on strengthening multilateral economic financial affairs and artificial intelligence at the 17th BRICS Summit in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. In his address at the inaugural session on reform of global governance in peace and security, Prime Minister Modi reaffirmed India's commitment to enhancing the voice of the Global South. PM Modi stated that global governance institutions such as UN Security Council, the International Monetary Fund, World Bank, and the World Trade Organization must undergo urgent reform to reflect contemporary realities. Calling for strong global action against terrorism, Prime Minister Modi noted that those funding, promoting, or providing safe havens to terrorists must be dealt with in the harshest terms.
Honorable Prime Minister underlined that terrorism was a grave threat facing humanity. In this context, he noted that all the leaders have condemned Pahalgam terrorist attack in strongest terms.
While in his address at the session on strengthening multilateral economic financial affairs and artificial intelligence, Prime Minister Modi said that BRICS could play an important role in shaping a multipolar world. Prime Minister Modi offered four suggestions. First, BRICS New Development Bank must follow demand-driven principle and long-term sustainability for granting projects. Two, the group considers setting up a science and research repository which could benefit the Global South countries. Three, focus must be given to make the supply chain of critical minerals secured and resilient. And number four, group should work on responsible AI while looking into the concerns of AI governance. It should also give equal importance to promoting innovation in the field. At the conclusion of the leaders' session, member countries adopted the Rio de Janeiro Declaration. The leaders in the declaration noted that we reiterate our support for a comprehensive reform of the United Nations, including its Security Council, with a view to making it more democratic, representative, effective, and efficient. We condemn in the strongest terms the terrorist attack in Jammu and Kashmir on 22nd April 2025, during which 26 people were killed and many more injured. We reaffirm our commitment to combating terrorism in all its forms and manifestations, including the cross-border movement of terrorists, terrorism financing, and safe havens. We extend full support to India for its BRICS chairship in 2026 and holding the 18th BRICS Summit in India. On the sidelines of the 17th BRICS Summit in Rio de Janeiro, Prime Minister Modi also held bilateral meetings with various world leaders. PM Modi met the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Anwar bin Ibrahim. PM Modi thanked Prime Minister Ibrahim for his strong condemnation of the Pahalgam terror attack. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also met Cuba's President, Miguel Diaz-Canel Bermudez. The two leaders reviewed bilateral ties in the areas of economic cooperation, development partnership, fintech, capacity building, science and technology, disaster management, and healthcare. Besides this, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also met his Vietnamese counterpart Pham Minh Chinh on the sidelines of BRICS Summit in Brazil. Bureau Report, DD India.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi shared some glimpses of his visit to Rio de Janeiro on social media platform X. The Prime Minister described the Rio leg of his visit as very productive. During his visit to Rio, the Prime Minister had extensive deliberations at the BRICS Summit. The Prime Minister also complimented President Lula and the Brazilian government for their work during the BRICS Summit and BRICS presidency of Brazil in making this platform even more effective. And he said that his bilateral meetings with various world leaders during the summit are going to strengthen India's friendship with several nations. A story that spans continents and cultures, a royal gift that changed the course of dairy farming in an entire country. DD India's Meghna Dev traces the legacy of Krishna, the bull that bridged the two nations, India and Brazil.
A unique initiative connects Bhavnagar in Gujarat to the distant land of Brazil. The Gir bull named Krishna was given to Brazil by the then Maharaja of Bhavnagar as a gift, which sowed seeds of white revolution, of dairy revolution in Latin America. What began as a royal gift in 1960 has now blossomed into a global partnership. In the land of Bhavnagar, Gujarat, a bull named Krishna embarked on a journey beyond borders 65 years ago. Gifted to Brazil in 1960 by the Maharaja of Bhavnagar to Celson Garcia Cid, a cattle baron, this bull was not just an animal, but a symbol of India's cultural ethos. The bull belonging to the Gir breed is known for its resilience, high milk yield, and spiritual significance, especially in the Vaishnavite tradition, where cows are considered companions of Lord Krishna.
India gifted Gir and Kankrej, two breeds of cows, to Brazil, and since then Brazil has done tremendous development, tremendous scientific development to crossbreed and better these cows to produce more milk, and that is how we are talking about white revolution in Brazil.
It was the Maharaja of Bhavnagar, Maharaja Krishna Kumar Singh Ji Gohil, who was very kind to gift the Gir cattle, precisely a Gir bull, to the Brazilian gentleman we very fondly remember as Celso Garcia Cid. And it is this relation that has helped us maintain a very, very good relationship with the people of Brazil till today. One gift from Bhavnagar has helped Brazil in a tremendous way in terms of the income that they've made from the dairy and how well they've utilized it.
Brazil has been a consistent admirer of Indian indigenous cattle breeds. Over the years, the country has developed one of the largest Gir cattle populations outside India, originally imported from Gujarat. These cows now play a key role in Brazil's dairy industry.
My grandfather bought some cows from Maharaja and very good bulls too. And he brought Krishna to Brazil, but unfortunately Krishna died in 1961. But he left a very good son called Krishna Sakina. Now we have thousands of descendants of Krishna Sakina. We thank India for this magnificent gift.
From Bhavnagar to Brazil, this was the journey of a bull named Krishna. The gesture was more than diplomacy. It's a living emblem of India's philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is one family. Meghna Dev's report for DD India.
Well, Indian cuisine is gaining widespread global recognition and becoming a preferred choice among international food lovers. There was a time when Indian food was virtually unknown in Brazil. However, the scenario has completely changed. Now, enterprising individuals of Indian origin are introducing Indian cuisine to Brazilians through startups, and the response has been overwhelming. Here's DD India exploring some of the popular spots in Brazil where people are not only enjoying Indian food, they are expressing their deep appreciation for the rich flavors and diversity in the food.
It's delicious. We love coming here. The food is very good. We like very much, a lot.
Very tasteful.
Okay, we're going to get you some more news coming up on this program. Still to come here on DD India, we're going to show you, we're going to take a short break at this point of time. Do stay with us. Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium, we'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Mark Lynn. Let's continue. US President Donald Trump announced 25% tariffs on imports from Japan and South Korea, effective from August 1, in letters shared on his Truth Social platform. He warned any retaliatory tariff increases would be met with equivalent hikes. Currently under a 10% levy, both nations risk higher rates amid stalled negotiations. Trump extended the original July 9 tariff deadline to allow more time for talks. Around a dozen other countries are expected to receive similar warnings. These measures are part of a broader tariff campaign, with deals only reached so far with the UK and Vietnam. Financial markets reacted negatively, with the US-listed Japanese automaker stocks falling.
The president will also sign an executive order today delaying the July 9th deadline to August 1st. So the reciprocal tariff rate, or these new rates that will be provided in this correspondence to these foreign leaders, will be going out the door within the next month, or deals will be made. And those countries continue to negotiate with the United States. We've seen a lot of positive developments in the right direction, but the administration, the president and his trade team want to cut the best deals for the American people and the American.
The European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said on Monday that the European Union must show strength in ongoing trade talks with the United States. Her comments come as von der Leyen will face a European Parliament no-confidence vote on Thursday in the latest challenge to the European Commission President.
When the Commission sits down with the United States to negotiate on trade and tariffs, Europe must show strength. When we stand up for Ukraine's future, Europe must show strength. Or when we go to China to defend our interests, Europe must show strength. And this strength only comes through our unity. So let us come together. Let us keep delivering for Europe. Long live Europe.
President Trump's administration has revoked the foreign terrorist organization designation of Al-Nusra Front, also known as Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, according to the State Department memo filed on Monday. We're going back to a story then on US President Donald Trump announcing 25% tariffs on imports from Japan and South Korea. This is effective from August 1 in letters shared on his Truth Social platform. He warned that any retaliatory tariff increases would be met with equivalent hikes. Currently, under a 10% levy, both nations risk higher rates amid stalled negotiations. Trump had extended the original July 9 tariff deadline to allow more time for talks. Around a dozen other countries are expected to receive similar warnings. Now, other stories also. The U.S. envoy Thomas Barak met Lebanon's President Joseph Aoun at the presidential palace in Beirut. The U.S. envoy Barak said that he was satisfied with the Lebanese government's response to a proposal to disarm the militant Hezbollah group. He also said that Washington is ready to help the small crisis-hit nation emerge from its long-running political and economic crisis.
What the government gave us was something spectacular. In a very short period of time, in a very complicated manner, I'm unbelievably satisfied with the response. Now what it takes is a parry and thrust to the details, which we're going to do. We're both committed to get to the details and get a resolution. So I'm hopeful. I'm very, very hopeful.
11 people died across Kenya during the anti-government demonstrations on Monday, following clashes between police and protesters in the capital, Nairobi, on the outskirts of the capital. The death of the blogger Albert Ojwang in police custody last month. It has given the protests fresh impetus, fueling anger against the authorities and bringing hundreds onto the streets. This is what Kenya's police have said. They've said that 11 people have died, while 52 officers had been injured. Now, the police have not actually said who is responsible for the killings. They used tear gas and water cannons on Monday to disperse hundreds of demonstrators advancing along a road connecting Kangemi to downtown Nairobi. The government-funded Kenya National Commission on Human Rights said that it saw numerous hooded officers not in uniform traveling in unmarked vehicles. Well, a state of emergency in Texas and the deadly flash floods there have left a trail of devastation and heartbreak. Dozens are still missing and entire communities are underwater. Rescuers are working round the clock to save people. It's a desperate race against time. Here's the report.
Rescuers are racing against time to locate dozens still missing, including children, after deadly flash floods swept through parts of Texas. The catastrophe has already claimed more than 80 lives. Authorities have warned of more heavy rains on the way.
There are dangers over the next 24 to 48 hours that could pose public safety threats to people in these regions. There is heavy rainfall that's already occurred, and there's more heavy rainfall that's expected that will lead to potential flash flooding broadly in these regions. The Big Country, Concho Valley, Central Texas, and once again, Kerrville.
Evacuations are in full swing, from military veterans to local volunteers. Hundreds have joined hands in a desperate search for survivors, braving dangerous waters and debris-strewn streets.
It's gut-wrenching watching all of this happen. I mean, it happened so fast, and I wanted to come out sooner, but I also didn't want to be in the way of waiting for things to get done.
US President Donald Trump, meanwhile, announced he may visit the devastated region on Friday. The White House says his administration is in constant touch with Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
They did. I'll tell you, you look at that, what a situation that all is, and that was really the Biden setup. That was not our setup, but I wouldn't blame Biden for it either. I would just say this is a 100-year catastrophe, and it's just so horrible to watch. Probably on Friday. We wanted to leave a little time. I would have done it today, but we'd just be in their way. Probably Friday.
In the face of nature's fury, Texas is showing the true strength of its spirited communities coming together, rescuers defying all odds, and a state of refusing to give up hope. As the search continues and more rains threatens, the fight to save lives goes on. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live. Let's hear your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, get the latest news and updates from DD India and across the world, that is, on the app, which is available on Android and iOS platforms, the DD India mobile app. You can get it by scanning the QR code on your screen.